Today we're joined by someone who has seen it all as a celebrant.
And also at her own wedding, you won't believe what happened at her wedding.
All loved up and ready to propose? Or maybe you're searching for the perfect wedding ring. My Jewellery Shop are your engagement and wedding ring experts. At My Jewellery Shop, it's your time to shine. Gold Coast Highway, Nobby Beach, and myjewelleryshop.com.au.
Moyra Major and Nicki Amos.
We pronounce you unfiltered. Welcome to We Pronounce You.
Unfiltered.
And thank you so much for listening to us. Nicki, how are you?
I'm fabulous. What about you?
Yes, fabulous. Thank you. If you do know someone planning a wedding, do them a favour, share the podcast with them. You can email us. We'd love to hear your stories as well. That would be great.
Check out our new website at wepronounceyou.com.au.
A big welcome to David Francinium. That's a hard one to say. Do you want to try that one?
David Crick.
Okay.
Actually,
Yep. Sorry. sorry, David Crick. And then Francinium. I'm going to say. Well done.
Aruda.
John Norman. That's an easier one for me today. And Gail Frankling as well, who have joined us on Instagram.
We have been posting a stack of ideas on our social channels, including wedding theme ideas. One of them was upstaging the bride, which we couldn't believe.
I know. So basically you had to upstage. So the bride had to be upstaged by what you wore to the wedding, which was just atrocious.
By everybody. So imagine
gosh.
the eye candy, well, not so much eye candy, but the
extreme?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel a mankini was there somewhere. We did receive a comment on that video from Leanne Markert, who is a celebrant based in Cairns.
Yes. Well, this was a mind blower, this one.
Yes. She said that she had a girl turn up in a white dress very similar to hers at her own wedding.
But not only that, what else happened?
She also got up and danced during the first dance.
What the?
I know. We're going to chat with Leanne this episode because we just need to find out exactly what that is all about. All right, Leanne, Cairns celebrant, thank you so much for joining us. The minute we saw your comment, we knew that we had to chat to you. Thank you. So where do we find you today?
I'm on the Atherton Tablelands at the moment doing a ceremony, so it's nice and cool. The weather's quite wet, but it's still lovely. It's about probably 90 kilometres east of Cairns, so about an hour and a half in the car.
And how long have you been a celebrant?
Well, as a celebrant for myself, I started in 2019, the beginning of 2019, but I worked for the Cairns Magistrates Court when I was about 26, and so I used to perform ceremonies as a clerk at the court.
Okay, so take us through that. I've never spoken to anybody who's done that before. You don't have to be a celebrant to do that role.
No, you just have to be an employee of the court, and they give you a sheet of paper and everybody reads the words and you're married.
Wow. And
that's how it was 20 years ago, because you're just following the legislation, and as a court employee, you're equipped to do it. I'm not sure if it's changed. I don't think it has, but that's how it was back then. Yeah,
that's really weird.
Yeah. And are you just in an office, or you're actually in a courtroom, or?
They had like a little room with a tablecloth and some flowers. I think it's a little bit nicer now, especially places like the Brisbane Registry. I think it's actually quite formal and quite a nice setting. I think the Cairns courthouse has sort of improved over the years. As we all know, it was either church or the courthouse until they approved celebrants. And then, it was usually people just after the legal documentation. So they were quite happy to come in, read the piece of paper, sign the documents, and then they were married. I think you can approach a registry ceremony now with a lot more sort of planning, and you can bring things in to stage the room and make it quite nice.
Yeah, because I'm sure back in the day there was no, now you may kiss the bride, or, no allowing of any personal vows.
It literally was just paperwork.
Just the paperwork, and that's it.
Yeah, we just had a laminated sheet of paper.
How classy. I love it.
With the marker over the top, like that you can rub
wipe out
Mr.
name.
the names.
Dave and Cheryl. Okay. Sorry. Is that the wrong one? You wouldn't have had to have a notice of intention of marriage or anything like that, which as celebrants we have to have 1 month before. So for a courthouse, you literally could leave, go and get married in the afternoon.
No, they'd come in 30 days before and fill out the NOIM at the front desk.
Okay, cool. All
and
right.
then it would be lodged with us as a courthouse, and then, you do the ceremony afterwards. So there's still the same waiting period. But, I think the courthouse per se receives the documentation rather than a celebrant.
Wow.
Okay. But it's good now that you can make it more your own, more personalised, though. But it's not actually that much more cost effective than to actually get a celebrant who can then put a few little extra nice touches in there.
It does feel like it's sort of a bit of a drive-through wedding, doesn't it, in a courthouse? But maybe that's what people like.
I think it's just under $500 in Cairns, and you pay for your notice of intention to marry lodgement, and then you pay to book the room and
so that's
the final
on top
ceremony.
of the 500.
And I think it comes in high 400s, maybe 480. I haven't checked the prices recently. I know it's under $500.
Okay.
And I do know that there's celebrants in Cairns that will do a legals only ceremony for around that price. Legals only ceremony seems to be the new word.
Yes.
And so I get a lot of couples ringing up and saying, I want a legals only ceremony. We've only got 150 guests. It's at the Cairns Hilton. What's your legals only price? And it's, well, that's not a legals only.
No, that's a ceremony.
I offered the other day to someone, I said, how about if we get a legals only done and then you can have a party later with your friends and family? And they said, well, everybody's travelled so far for this ceremony. And I said,
there's the word.
Well, then it's a ceremony.
Do you know, once I had a cheeky couple who had
I think just before we go on, though, we need to clarify what the phrase legals only means. So legals only is just the paperwork, just the monitum, which we have to say legally, the legal vows, and that is it. There is no, thank you so much for coming here, thank you for whatever. You need 2 witnesses, and that is it. So literally, and I was reading this the other day, can happen in about 4 minutes.
Oh, easy.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So that's a legals only ceremony. But people then think that is part of an actual event where, like you said, Leanne, 150 people turning up. That's certainly not what we're talking about. So what was the cheeky couple?
So I had a cheeky couple who had got married in Bali, obviously not registered here in Australia, and they just wanted the legal paperwork. So they said, arrange for me to come over on a Saturday morning. And I got to their place and it was crawling with people, balloons, food. It was an event. And so me being me, I just, quickly I ran back to my car on my computer, put something together. So it was actually like a ceremony. And then they were like, oh, do you want us to give you extra money? And I was not going to say yes, but cheeky, like I said.
Very cheeky.
This is actually not a legals only. This is now a ceremony.
Yeah. Because
we did a
with the
ring
legals
exchange.
only, you don't even have to do the rings.
No.
Which is the other thing, because that's additional to it. And I actually forgot to do the rings. And it was with legals only, and the guy's standing there with the ring, and I was like, it's not part of it, mate. What do you do? Put it away. And he goes to his bride, do you want a ring? And I went, oh, my God, this has gone to shit.
I know, and so you don't want to wreck their moment either, so, yeah.
So you're finding you're getting more of that.
That's the hardest thing.
Yes.
You don't ever want to wreck someone's ceremony. So if they're an hour and a half, 2 hours late, you don't want to be chastising them when they walk down the aisle. You've still got to keep that positive feeling.
The death glare.
It can be quite a challenge.
We are finally gathered here to finally see David and Cheryl get married. Now, you also perform funerals as well, something I don't know if I can do, but Nicki, you do it as well.
Yeah, I do something.
How do you find that how do you find that? That's just one question.
I love it. I really do. I love funerals. I love being able to help the family. It's about the family.
Yes.
It's about the person that passed, but funerals are about the people left behind.
That's right.
And I'd had quite a lot of personal loss in my life and been to a few funerals where I thought, I could do this better. I could be more helpful. I could help more people. So that's why I was inclined to do the funeral training when I did the celebrant training. I'd also done a few funerals for family and friends beforehand because you don't need any qualifications.
Correct, yes.
It's just a bonus. And so I don't know, I've just not become desensitized to them, but I'm not as deterred by the work. I like being able to get in there and help people and help them think of things that they may not think of during the worst time of their life
100%.
so that they don't have to think about anything.
And the other thing too I find is that you are privileged to share someone's life story. You're hearing their entire life story unfold in that ceremony. And like you say, you know, the people are just so emotionally wired at that time. You know, there are things that they don't think of that you bring to the table and like, wow, thank you so much for that. And just the gratitude that they show in those instances, I find, it's a beautiful process. And I think you would be amazing at it. But it does get, like there was a couple that I did, and I'm not sure about you, Leanne, when they're younger and they're kind of more your age, that becomes challenging because you know, being empathetic and being in that situation. But yeah, what do you think, Leanne?
Yeah, I've dealt with the whole sort of gambit of youth self-harm and tragic vehicle accidents. I'm often the one that funeral directors call in the very difficult situations because I've experienced a lot of these situations in my personal life. I've got some empathy for how the people are feeling at the time, and they don't sort of have to explain to me where they're at or how they're feeling.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. And we all become quite supportive of each other within the funeral industry, so we kind of talk about it amongst ourselves afterwards. So we're all aware of each other's situations, and people generally come to the funeral industry because they've got personal history with loss. So everybody understands. So I just find that I've helped them, and so I walk away. I actually love it. I really do.
Has there been a change in the time period that you've been conducting the funerals? We've found that weddings are getting shorter, weddings are getting cheaper, weddings are getting more compact. Have you found that with funerals as well?
Well, the prices for funerals have increased exponentially over the last 4 or 5 years. So people are, as I said, having direct cremations. I don't know if you want to get into all of this heavy stuff on the podcast, but maybe we need to do a different, more positive one as well. But
we're not finished with you yet.
We're not finished with you yet.
Don't you worry.
They have a direct cremation where they come and collect their loved ones' cremains, which is what you call the ashes.
That's very cool.
And then they take them away and have a personal memorial. And that way they've got the same feelings because they've got it, but they don't have the cost of a casket or a coffin.
That's how I'm going to do it.
The hire of a chapel or a celebrant.
Wow.
I've thought about that, especially after Dad passed away. I'm right with you there, Leanne. That's exactly how I'd do it. Because you're still hiring a celebrant for that memorial service.
Yeah.
To lead the ceremony.
But I want to be at your funeral, like just throwing myself over the casket. No. So that's very rude of you for me. I want to be like, why? No. All right, up next, we've talked a lot about funerals, but now it's time to actually talk about the comment that you sent us.
We want to find out what went down at your wedding.
I know that I've got a lot of jewellery that's just sitting around, old pieces, usually from my aunt, beautiful Auntie Glenda. God bless her little cotton sock. She had good taste in jewellery.
And the grandparents. I've got European jewellery.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, if it is, just sitting around at my jewellery shop, they can breathe new life into your old jewellery. I would like to honour some of my mum's and my aunt's jewellery by putting it together into something really nice. Now, obviously, I need help with that. Now, if you're like me and have some jewellery just sitting around, you need some help, you want someone you can trust, take your near forgotten pieces and redesign them into the now while still maintaining that sentimental importance.
You're taking something old, add your special touch, and we create something new.
Beautiful, and a lovely way to remember someone very important. At my jewellery shop, it is your time to shine.
Gold Coast Highway, Nobby Beach.
And myjewelleryshop.com.au.
You can find them on Instagram too.
All loved up and ready to propose? Or maybe you're searching for the perfect wedding ring. My Jewellery Shop are your engagement and wedding ring experts. At My Jewellery Shop, it's your time to shine. Gold Coast Highway, Nobby Beach, and myjewelleryshop.com.au.
We were talking about the upstaging the bride. You commented saying, I think everyone is doing it, then no one stands out the one person does. I had a girl turn up in a white dress, very similar to mine at my wedding. Then she got up and danced during the first dance. What the hell?
We need to go back. Was this lady a good friend of yours? Let's start there.
She was more a friend of the groom's and more a partner of a friend of the groom's.
Okay.
But she was within that social circle. So for a little bit of context, I was 17.
Oh, wow.
I was the first person in Australia to apply for the under 18 marriage law after it changed.
That's
so I became a case study.
Wow.
So we read about her.
We read about you.
In our
now we
training.
know about you.
And I had like this little white ethereal thing made out of lace, and my bridesmaids had sort of the typical 90s flared sleeve and linen dress with the lace panel. And her dress was identical but a lot shorter. And it was in the days of cassette tapes, so I was at the Shangri-La Cairns Ballroom, and the Nat King Cole cassette tape went in and the wrong song got played, but that was okay. So my husband and I got up and started dancing and sort of made the first turn and turned around, and this couple had decided to come up
time to dance.
and dance. Not formally. Quite outrageously. And it was funny because a few years later I mentioned it to the gentleman because he was still great friends with us, and I said to him, didn't you have any idea what you were doing? And he said, no. She said, come on, let's get up there. And it was all being videoed and everything. And she was quite she loved the limelight.
Right,
she was,
gotcha.
She was
She was a mole,
young,
absolute mole.
Young girl. Yeah. But just one of those people, and probably didn't have a vicious bone in her body.
But just not socially
just
aware.
Just not aware
perhaps.
that this is not the moment.
Wow.
Okay, let's go back to you being 17 and you being the first person in Australia to be married under the age of 18. So context, when you're a celebrant, both parties are supposed to be 18. Otherwise, you have to go to the court and get a court. So basically, you're not marrying kids and all that kind of stuff.
It had only just changed.
Wow.
So up until then, you could be 16. The girl could be 16, I think, and the boy had to be 18. And so they changed the law where both parties had to be 18, and it had only just changed. And that's why I was the first, because it had only just changed.
Right.
That's amazing. And what's that process? Basically you have to go and prove that you are in love. And
your parents have to give you
permission,
consent.
isn't it?
We had to go to court.
Ooh.
We had a court hearing with my parents.
And so were mum and dad on board?
Hope so.
Oh, they couldn't stop me.
Don't stop me now.
What were they going to do, really?
True.
I was a
made
bit
up
of a
your
free
mind.
bird back in the day.
I love it.
And you're still with your husband now?
No, but we're great friends.
Good.
And his family as well. I think his family was part of the package, and we were great friends. Friends. And, it was a very long time ago. I'm 49 this year. But the friendship and the continued sort of love of each other, his family has always been very good to me.
That's lovely.
So with that in mind,
there's no hard feelings there.
With that in mind, have you had to do a 17-year-old bride, or have you had to do no? Yeah.
I've never done a younger person.
No.
No.
No, but I tell you what I have done is I usually wait a month or so before I put a video together or a TikTok reel, and I usually send it to the bride and groom first and say, I'm about to publish this on my page, just wanted to give you a heads up. And I've had quite a few that have separated before.
The 1 month.
So,
wow.
No.
yeah.
And so interesting. So did you then when you were marrying them, did you have a vibe and think, nah?
Do you want to? No, honestly, it's usually the couples that have been together the longest.
But they get married and then they break up because they're
It's kind of like, yeah, you're done.
you're kind of done.
I knew someone like that who had been with their partner for some years and then they were pretty much separated after 6 months of being married.
But you're saying a month and you're
That's
saying
very
a
short.
few of them.
I'm
So
speechless.
I'm very careful now. I don't publish anything without checking in.
Well, what's your wait period now? I reckon the longer you wait, the worse it could be.
Yeah, it is. And
Wait a week.
you know, what can you do?
No, well, that's
What
that's
can
it.
you do?
Yeah. I'm just thinking of that wasted expense. And all sorts of things that are going on
And
there.
that varies. One of them was probably the most expensive wedding I've ever done, and one was
Wow.
just on the beachfront. So
Yeah.
the cost doesn't seem to have
No.
anything to do with it.
It doesn't. Has there been a wedding that stood out for you as, well, let's ask you for the best wedding and for the worst wedding that you've ever been part of?
Oh, I don't know. Best is a hard one.
They're all great.
I did one for a lady that was terminally ill, and she booked it in knowing that she might not make it. And she made it to Cairns and had a lovely ceremony on the beach. And they'd been together for 20 or 30 years, but had just never been married. That was very special because we were all holding our breath, hoping that she was going to make it.
Yeah.
And then the very first wedding I did was a friend of mine because she wanted to be the first.
Wasn't the same
And
girl who got up
she
on the
was in the
dance floor, was she?
bathroom.
Was she the one who was in the white dress at your wedding?
No. No, but she was in the bathroom for a good hour and a half past the start. And I didn't know how to get her out of there, and she was so nervous. And so that was a difficult one because you've got to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
And it is quite difficult to keep that crowd.
Yes.
I feel like you need a
Happy.
clause in your service agreement that says if they're running late. I've got one in mine that if they're late, it's like a certain amount of money per half an hour after that time or an hour after that
I know,
time.
but how do you enforce that?
And how do you get the money from them?
Well, it's in your service agreement and that you signed. It's a contract. It's an agreement. But like I feel like if you've experienced that a few times, that because that's like all those people waiting and waiting,
And it's
you know?
awkward. It is so awkward.
And then what do you do as the celebrant? So what are you like entertaining them at the
That's
front
what they
there?
expect. They expect you to do magic tricks. I'm pretty sure of it.
I usually get the groom a beer. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah, because he's like,
Where is she?
is she even coming?
So was your friend?
You can have one.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. You can
exactly,
have one and that is it.
Yeah.
Wow, that would have been, and that being your first, that would have been quite traumatic as well.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
What a way- what a learning curve.
Good learning curve.
Yes, definitely.
Well, Leanne, you've blown our minds. We just thought we were talking to the lady who made a comment about some mole in a white dress that got up and danced with the first dance. But now we know that we've actually studied you in our courses to be a celebrant, the first person in Australia to actually go through with that, which I haven't even thought of who that person would have been, and it was you. So that's very, very cool.
Well, that's what my solicitor told me, so it was a very good solicitor.
We're
Let's
going
just go with it.
We're going with it.
I'm the case study, I was told.
You are
Yeah,
wonderful.
totally.
How fantastic. Well, pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much. If you are around the Cairns area as well, or if you want to go and get married in Cairns, Leanne_Cairns Celebrant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leanne.
Fantastic. Thanks, heaps, guys. See you later.
Oh, well, that was absolutely... I can't believe that we just contacted her for her comment and then we just had such a great chat with her. She was fantastic.
She was amazing. Really good.
Oh, now, if you do know someone getting married, share this episode with them. Hear about the things that can go wrong. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a moment to rate it on whatever podcast app you're using. Share it on social media as well.
Yep, help us grow. The more people we get to help on the wedding journeys,
Yes,
the better.
absolutely.
So,
And next week, we are going to interview...
ourselves!
Yay! Now, we know what the role of a celebrant is.
But not many people actually do.
And after the feedback from this season and the questions that we get from brides and grooms,
Yeah.
it is actually amazing how people have no idea.
Yeah.
So we're
I
going
think
to...
people just think you get up there and you do your 20-minute or, 10 to 20-minute, whatever it is, and then but there's so much behind the scenes.
There is. So we're going to tell you all about that. Hope you can join us next week.
Bye.
All Gloved up and ready to propose? Or maybe you're searching for the perfect wedding ring. My Jewellery Shop are your engagement and wedding ring experts. At My Jewellery Shop, it's your time to shine. Gold Coast Highway, Nobby Beach, and myjewelleryshop.com.au.
Woodwork Podcasts.